get in my way now.
Alright, welcome to the GSTL. I am Wolf, and I'm with Caldor as always.
And Wolf just had the sickest idea ever. You know, guys, when this video starts and Jim Rayner always asks, "What's up, Caldor?" And Wolf actually just said that I should make that my text message sound.
Yeah.
It's ingenious.
I think you should, man. I think that would actually be really good. That'd be really good.
It never even crossed my mind, but it will definitely do that. But look at these two team names, guys. TSL versus Prime. This is gonna be sick. I mean, I'm so happy that we're actually right now sitting here in Muckung in the GSTL studio and casting the GSTL, the team league, and these two teams. I mean, I can actually only expect that we are witnessing a lot of good games today.
I think so. I think this is going to be one of our closer matches for sure. And another thing is, I've been kind of missing GSTL. We didn't have it last weekend because of Korean Thanksgiving, but now it's back, and I could not be more excited to talk about maps, talk about the strategies players want to pick. GSTL is so dynamic. You can see the winner prediction here, actually. That is dead close. Look at that, 49.7 to 50.3. Wow.
I have no idea who's going to win today. I have no clue. I could see it go either way.
I don't know either, you know? Like, I thought about it a lot already. I was like, who's going to take this? You know, I always think about this before the match. I'm like, what kind of stories might evolve? And, you know, we talked about this earlier as well. We would love to see Marine King versus Symbol 4-4 situation.
That would be the best
awesome
thing. The two players that just lost their matches in Code S would play the last game. That would be like a dream come true.
Yeah.
But today is going to be very, very close. We have a roster for TSL that consists of a lot of Zerg players. Not that many Protoss and Terran. We have Inori and Hold, of course. And on the other hand, we have the Prime team with a lot of Terran players. But, well, they're a little bit short on Zerg these days.
Yeah, not so much a lot of Zergs
course.
there. Yeah, Boom Boom is a great player, though, for their team. Let's look at the team info, though. Pop that up there. You guys can check out their distribution by race, as well as their Code A, B, S.
Look how spot on that is. We have 2 players in Code S, 4 in Code A, and 4 in Code B. It's actually a little bit crazy. The math just doesn't add up, if I'm honest. There's like all roster 12, but they only listed 10 players. I'm like, what?
Some other players are in Code C, man.
Yeah, Code C was just invented. Here are the captains. We have Hold and Boom Boom.
Yeah. You can see Creator having the highest win rate so far, and obviously Creator doing extremely well, being able to win WCS Korea, and this guy is on fire. If he can get himself together, he is one of the hardest players you may ever have to face.
But once again, he's in a little bit like the same situation that Pold is on the TSL roster. Pold representing the Terran forces of TSL quite well. He's definitely the strongest Terran that they have right now, even though he's not the only one on the roster. But on the other hand, we have for Prime Team Creator, and if you think about their Protoss lineup, he's just the one guy who really will stand in the way of every single TSL player that dares to face him.
Yeah, he is. You know, they've got these powerhouses. Sometimes it happens with a team where you have, you know, you're not really strong in one particular race, even though you have some players there, but you do have that one strong figurehead player who kind of represents the race. For example, Polt for TSL, I think, is one of the best examples of this.
Yeah, and we talked to the teams earlier. They are both in high spirits. All of them expect that it's going to be a really tight match today, but they are full of good hopes, think they can edge out a win. So it's going to be really interesting. This is going to be amazing. I would be so surprised if we don't see at least a 5-3. I actually expect more of a 5-4.
Yeah, I would be surprised as well. You know, one other thing to think about is Bit by Bit in the studio? Is he here? I actually didn't look yet, and I don't want to turn around right now. I'm really scared. I might find an SCV drill fusion cutter like coming through my back, but
no, you won't be annihilated. I'll protect you. I'll play the bodyguard.
You just make a spine crawler and keep him away.
Yeah, maybe a spine crawler. Would look awkward in the studio.
Would you transform into a spine crawler to save me?
Can I transform into something else?
I mean, I don't know. If you were a drone, and we were still friends and casting partners, would you transform into a spine crawler to save me?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I would do the same for you. Actually, I would just morph in a photon cannon and I'd be fine. But here is, of course, the TSL team.
Yeah, the coach is actually at the studio today.
And that's when you know stuff is getting real. That's when things get serious, when Coach Lee comes to the studio. He's not messing around.
We haven't seen him for ages.
Yeah.
He was not here for quite a while, was always represented by the other coach of the team, but now Coach Lee is in the studio as well. Here we have Bolt at the front.
Coach Lee is an extremely busy guy. Actually, has a lot of stuff he does outside of esports, related to electronics, and also really does outside of his team things for his team, not even at the house, just always being, you know, the manager, having that role he has to play. But as I said earlier, if he is here, that means it is super serious what is about to happen. Coach Lee has a really cool sweater today too. I really like it.
Yeah. And he's flanked by Hyun and Symbol. You just see them on the bench, and we are starting things off, of course, with the Terran forces of TSL, as Holt is the captain.
Yeah. Leading off here, Holt, Punisher, and Center, the 3 Terran players. Punisher and Center, though, both in Code B, not a lot of results.
Here with the Zerg players, Ragnarok, Hyun, Symbol, Revival, and Shine.
Yep, it's hard to fit all of those on one page. And last but not least, we have Inori and Value. Inori, I would say probably the better of the two, but Value has made an appearance once in Code A.
Yeah, Inori lost to Keen in the first round of Code A, therefore he is once again in Code B, but he has shown pretty good games at the Code A qualifier itself. Yeah. Symbol, he just lost his game against MVP in the round of 8. But that's of course.
And
Shine, who might actually have to, maybe he has to face Polt again in the 3rd round of Code A this season. That was a scenario that we already had last season. It was, of course, it's always a little bit sad if you have this team killer, only one of your players can advance to Code S. Right now we are, of course, not in the 3rd round of Code A just yet, but it could happen. And here we have the Prime players.
Up there is Creator himself and Gerard coming out. He had a jacket earlier, but decided not to wear it. He left it in the VIP room. Now he's just wearing his tie. I really like Gerard. He's such a friendly guy, really outgoing, very smart, and a player as well.
We have, of course, also Maru, pretty, well, I think the shortest player on the roster, actually a little bit shorter than Marine King.
Yeah, I think Maru is the shortest player in all of StarCraft.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, as far as, you know, real competitive play goes.
And in his first round, in the round of 48 match of Code A, this sick hold that we've seen from him on into the Valley was crazy. He might have to pull not a strategy, but a defense like this out again today. There's so many Zergs on the TSL roster.
He didn't pull a medevac, or I said the punchline first. He didn't pull a rabbit out of a hat, but he pulled a marauder out of the medevac repeatedly to get that win. That was ruined. That was, oh wow, he's got to be careful over there. Oh my
God. He needs to be really careful. If he breaks his leg or his arm right now, that would have been a little bit.
That would be a tragedy.
A little bit of a disaster there. But here we go. We have our Zerg players first. Boom Boom, the captain, Tyrius, Arya, and Salmosa. 4 Zergs in total, but Boom Boom definitely the strongest here.
Yeah, and here are our Terrans, Marine King, Bjorn, and Maru. Yeah, the backbone, that's a great way to put it. And last but not least, the Protoss is Creator, Rusi, I'm not sure who that is, and Classic. I don't know. I think we're gonna have a lot of Rusi jokes probably, but.
Do you think that he's actually pronounced Lucy?
Probably.
It's this L and R thing that you have in Korean.
Yep.
Same with the P and the F.
And Marine King is trying to re-energize himself after his fall earlier. Looks okay. Beyond is someone I'm really looking forward to watching play, actually. More than anyone else, I want to see him. This guy is a legend, really. And his hair is also legendary.
I actually realized that Creator has something of a wild look today. Don't know how to describe it.
Oh, what?
A little bit different.
A wild?
Yeah, the hairstyle that he has.
Ah, yeah. That's for sure. Revival is going to be the starting player for TSL. This guy was actually the best TSL player a long time ago, arguably. He did really well. He was his best performance, I believe, was a super tournament where I think he got to the round of 8. It's a long time ago. But since then, he's kind of fallen off the radar a little bit. He basically only comes out in GSTL. But look at his results there. Average wins 1.0. That means he wins half the time, which is a pretty good record to have in GSTL.
He's in Code B, though. He actually lost in the final of his Code A qualifier grid. Was defeated with a 2-0. Yeah. It was really sad. I mean, he was so excited playing these games. I've watched a lot of his matches when he played and stood behind him. But in the end, he was not able to claim a Code A spot. Here we have his opponent in this ZVZ that starts off the day. We have Boom Boom, the captain.
And take out your nose plug. Put it in. And that booth probably smells something really nasty. Boom Boom rated really highly, has actually played the GSTL so many times, and because he's the captain, sitting him out first here makes a great statement. I like that. He's a good all-around player. He doesn't show too many weaknesses.
The story about Boom is also that he was completely annihilated in the last season of Code A. He dropped down to Code B, re-qualified this season, and won his first round match. He took down the STC.
Yeah, that just shows how determined he is. He doesn't lose his focus after something. When you have that story where something shaky happens to a player, where they fall out suddenly, or they have an emotional best of three, sometimes that kind of builds on itself and can snowball. But Boom just said, no, I'm just going to requalify, no problem. I am now in the second round. I'm going to the up and down matches, potentially even into Code S if he can win that third round match.
To be completely honest with you, when he was out of Code A, I really thought that we would not see him in the GSL for quite a while. Requalifying through the bracket, through the qualifier is just so hard, and he was able to pull it off immediately. I was really impressed by his performance. Now we have him on Whirlwind in the ZVZ against Revival. I actually don't think that we are going to see too many mirror matches today.
I don't think so. I don't expect Prime to send anyone out besides Boom as Zerg, to be honest.
Yeah, they have the players. We've seen it earlier. It's not like they only have one Zerg player or one Protoss player, but it's just these two names that shine when it comes down to Zerg and Protoss for the Prime team. It's Boom and it's Greater.
Yeah.
Game number 1 though is starting here at the GSTL. This is the match between TSL and Prime, and we are starting things off with a CVZ. Let's get ready for Whirlwind. Starting to the bottom right of the map, we have the player starting for TSL here on Whirlwind in our first game at the GSTL between Prime and TSL, and it is, of course,
TSL Revival!
Revival
wants to prove himself here after he was not able to qualify for Code A this season. He gets the chance to get a few points for TSL as the starting player. To the top right starts his opponent, another Zerg. The strongest Zerg, probably the strongest Zerg in the Prime team. It is the captain. It is
Boom Boom! Prime!
He's got a whiff of something pretty smelly.
I think he actually has the longest nickname in the GSL.
I think that's true. He's actually nicknamed by foreign fans as B4 because he's got 4 capital B's in his ID. Now, Revival actually, if I'm not mistaken on this, in the original TSL commercial that they made for that RAM G-Skill, he is the only person in that photo who's still part of TSL. And I'm not talking about you guys may be thinking of a different photo. There's a different photo than the one that was shown on the GSL because I don't think he's in that picture. But anyway, what I'm trying to say here is he's been on the team a long time. TSL has had many restructurings, a lot of players shifting around, but Revival is the one who's been there since the beginning.
What you can currently see on the map is that we have for both of them the same build. So currently starting with the 15 hatch, Boom Boom and his opponent. Well, and it's a pretty big map, so it makes a lot of sense to start a little bit greedier here. Usually don't see early pools on this map. Now we have the gas taking a bit faster for Boom Boom. But yeah, Wolf is completely right about this. The Revival has been on this team for an eternity.
Yeah.
Boom Boom on the other hand, well, he is... okay, he's going to scout. Right now with the I didn't really see the overall.
Yeah, they bumped into each other. Now, gas has been taken a little bit faster for the TSL player. Actually, I'm mistaken. That was the prime gas. It was a little bit faster, but it's barely. It's so negligible. These builds are identical.
On Whirlwind, what you have to do is to control the second choke point, of course, the ramp at the natural. Therefore, we will most likely see Baneliness for both of these players. It's just so hard to defend against Baneling attack, Baneling Zerglings if you don't have Banelings on your own. So Baneliness should be built by both of them.
Yeah.
Just as a precaution. You don't need to be aggressive, but if you have 2 Banelings just on the high ground, then you can deal with those incoming Zerglings fairly well.
We'll likely see maybe a creep tumor as well to push towards that ramp, because the ramp is kind of far away from the base. So if you can get the spine card close to the ramp, it helps you. Not something absolutely critical, but it's one thing to add to many things on this map. The third base on this map has 2 entrances, so Roach Run Bias and Zerling Run Bias are going to be a bit of a frustration for both these players if they face them.
Here comes the Baning Nest already for Boom Boom. And come 50 gas for Revival will almost. Oh, he goes straight for the Roach Warren here.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. He tries to skip the Banelings entirely. This is something that we haven't seen in the GSTL for quite a while right now.
Yeah, it's an older strategy. It's one that people stopped using because it didn't seem safe. But on a big map like this, I can understand why it would be the choice. It definitely means he's not going to try to pressure with it since it's such a big map. He could, but it's very unlikely. But you made a good point earlier about the entrance to the base. It's just so wide open. You need to have Banelings most of the time to stop big speedling run bys. There's just too much surface area.
I really like that he goes for the Roaches immediately. We have seen a lot of ZVZs in Korea and also in the GSTL in the past few weeks, and most players did not do it. I mean, I haven't seen this in the GSL specifically for quite a while right now. So this is pretty cool. He can with the Roaches then block the small ramp that leads to the main base. He can use that in front to snipe his opponent's Banelings if we have an attack by Boom Boom. But Boom Boom so far only builds 2 Banelings in his main base. He doesn't really want to be aggressive at this point in time. Goes for a very fast lair take here, so no aggression by Boom. Just both of them trying to test the waters a little bit.
Yeah. And the question will become now, who's going to take the faster third? We could see Mutas come out for Boom Boom. I think that's definitely a pretty good chance.
The thing is, with those Zerglings in the main base that have not been killed by the Roaches, he knows exactly what's going on, and he knows that his tech is so much faster than the tech of Revival. So Revival at this point in time has to really make a choice. Either he wants to stay on this tech level and then go for a huge attack, or he has to tech pretty fast. But you can already see that in regards of army supply, he's way ahead of his opponent.
He just started 20 links.
Exactly, he builds 20 links right now, and he added the Baneling Nest a little bit faster, which really indicates that he does not want to play like a very safe game. It's not for defense. He wants to be aggressive right now.
Yeah, he knows that since his card has been shown, that he kind of has to make something work very soon. He also knows that he's going to be vulnerable to something like Mutalist if he doesn't attack right now. The Overlord does see everything that's going on, so do these Lings. He sees he's moving out. How many Spine Crawlers are we going to see? Right now, Boom Boom's only making 1. He's got the Spire started as well, but he needs to make, I would say, probably about 3 more of those Spine Crawlers if he wants to hold here. Now he starts another one. He's already got 2 up, so 4 or 5 in total will be good, but it's all about the wall.
He needs more Banelings as well, and right now, of course, this is the one chance that Revival has. If he breaks Boom Boom now, he will win the game, but if the Muralists are out, then it will be a different story. 3 Spine Crawlers is going to be enough. The 4th one is halfway done. Now the Banelings are morphing for the TSL Zerg, and this is going to be so close. Boom Boom repositioning his Spine Crawlers. The Queens are in position, and here we go. It's party time.
Yep, the Spine Crawlers, not all of them burrowed yet. The last one does get down. So many Banelings roll in, but wow, actually that could have been a lot better for both players, but now all the Spine Crawlers are dead. The Zerlings stream in behind him. He's got a great position on the Roaches on the right side.
And the Spire is going to finish soon, but he doesn't have the bank anymore. He needs to build too many units, and suddenly we have the Prime in a really awkward position. He is dropping an army supply like crazy, and look at these forces for Revival.
Yeah, back at home too. Revival has started 10 drones. He started a lair as well. I don't think he's necessarily going to need a transition at this point. He has killed so many workers. There's only 24 drones left for Boom Boom right now, and he may just die anyways.
Yeah, there was a great attack by Revival with a perfect timing. He was able to execute it just before the Spire was done. No Mutalists in order to help out. He had to rely on Spine Crawlers, a few Banelings and Zerglings alone, and it was just not enough. So many Harvesters killed, 16 in total, and Revival, as you already pointed out, Wolf, he is also transitioning. He's not only banking his hopes on this attack, it's aggression, but he's also trying to get his tech out.
Yeah, his tech is nearly, he can nearly start it. His lair is almost finished. The attack is now held, but there's no recovery. How can he hope to come back from this? There's no way.
Right now, this is really devastating for Boom Boom. Revival is in such a great spot. He still has a good economy with a 40 to 27 Harvesters. We even have now, suddenly, for Revival, the first few
Spore Crawlers.
And Hydra then, because he wants to be safe against Mutalists. But the story is that there is a lot of gas for Boom Boom, but he just doesn't have the minerals.
He's so smart, he's getting Overlord speed because he's got so many Overlords on the map. Oddly enough, he's not pulling them back yet, but he knows that, he basically knows everything about what his opponent is doing. And he's like, all right, what are the ways I could die, or what are the ways I could, maybe he could catch up? I've got to get the spores up. I got to get maybe some Hydralisks out, and also I'm going to pull my Overlords back. Really great reaction here. Still not pulling his forward Overlords back though.
At this point in time, we have the first Mutalisk on the map for Boom Boom, and he will try to kill Overlord, supply block his opponent, but the economy here of the TSL player is just incredible. He's getting all these upgrades and therefore way ahead. Now the Overlord with speed is going in, is scouting, and he sees, of course, the saturation at the natural, and this will tell him that the economy of Boom Boom is really in shatters. So this is such a big problem.
It's actually really funny to see a speed Overlord in DBZ. I don't see that all too often. He is now moving the other Overlords, but he's trying to use them to scout. This also buys him time at home. He's fighting Overlords and not trying to harass the worker line. Even if the Mutas had gone to the worker line, though, with the extra Queens, the Sport Crawlers, no way you can really do anything with those.
+1/+1 is nearly done for Revival. He has still Overlords to the top left and will have a shot at the scouting the main base if he wants to.
He just wants to make sure that there's no hidden bases. He's like, well, he didn't GG and I have a huge lead, so just want to make sure everything I'm doing is 100% safe. He's not risking anything here.
It's really smart. It's a smart way of play here. I feel that earlier he could have ended the game already, but he didn't realize at the start of the attack if it would really work this well. So he tried to play it safe by just transitioning in his main base, and of course also lava was one problem that he had at this point in time. But currently he's doing everything right. He's moving out with the Hydra Roach composition that he has. +1/+1 is done.
It looks like he's just repeatedly checking to see what his opponent is doing. You know, also seeing if there's any hidden bases. He wants to know if he starts an Devastation Pit or if he's going to be continuing to make Mutas. A small little run by here, but it's going to be deflected.
The Banelings are in position. This is exactly what we talked about. The Banelings on the high ground. And currently we look at the army supply of 30 against a 74 in favor of Revival.
And this is not everything.
Boom Boom is on his last leg here.
He cannot hold. There's no way. The Hydralisks run up the ramp, and there's way too many of them. No Roach speed even for Boom Boom. He is out of luck.
Yeah, definitely. This game goes to Revival, and therefore TSL in the lead. The drones have been pulled. He's going in with the Mutalisk as well. He's trying everything here, but of course, with the number of units that he is controlling right now, he doesn't stand a chance.
GG. And, well, I feel like he could have had more Spine Crawlers earlier. It was very unlucky, the movement time where he decided to move his Spine Crawlers to reposition them. He even used that creep tumor I was talking about earlier to make the Spine Crawlers closer to the ramp, but it just was not enough. His defense was not enough, and I think he played a little bit too greedy that game.
He tried to be a little bit risky here and go for an earlier Mutalisk timing, didn't really have the defenses. He did not expect his opponent to be this aggressive, but Revival identified what was going on. He saw, okay, you are really going for a fast tech here, and you don't have enough if I attack you right now. And that's exactly what Revival did. Exploited the situation, took advantage of what he scouted, was really well executed. Well done, and therefore TSL is now in the lead, and the GSTL match between Prime and TSL.
Yeah. And Ring King has put on the glasses.
Yeah, he's put on the glasses, exactly.
Oh man, he looks so good in those glasses. Like, he looks like he doesn't look like an attractive guy. Like, it doesn't make him look like he has an attractive guy, like all the lasers look on him. He just looks like, I don't know, he looks like a character. Like, he just looks like, it's like, I don't know, it just fleshes out his character. I'm like, whoa. Ring King has those glasses. It's like esports with silly glasses. I love it.
I don't know, the first time that I actually saw it, I was like, okay, is this silly or is it awesome? And I'm still a little bit on the edge. I can't decide what it is, but he can pull it off.
He pulls it off,
That's the one thing. I mean, can you imagine yourself with the white rims?
No, I could never do that. Like, I could never do that in a million years. But he pulls it off. And he may be coming out soon. Prime is the team that's not afraid to pull out the heavy hitters early. I've done that in the past several times. Ring King could come out here.
I'm actually really interested in who's going to play now. I would expect a Terran player because it would be too early to actually use Creator, in my opinion. But let's see what's going to happen. We have to the top right, Ring King to the top left. We have Bjorn.
Yeah, it could be Bjorn as well, but no! And it's actually going to be Classic. I don't think I've ever seen him come out before.
I did not expect Classic to be used today.
I'm actually really excited because Classic has gone far in Codec qualifiers a lot. But if I'm not mistaken, he's never qualified once. And I don't think I've ever seen him play a game. We're going to pop his record up on screen in a second. I want to confirm
I'm actually pretty sure that we had games where Classic played in the GSTL. I'm pretty sure about that. But the thing is, I didn't really expect him to play here. With all the Terrans that they have on the roster, I would have expected Terran to play a second.
Yeah, same. I expect either Marine King or Beyond, but we have Classic here. He's 0-1. not a lot to study from this guy, and also he's a Protoss that probably, you know, I would say that on the other side of things, the TSL coach is looking at this as surprised as we are, saying, really? Classic? That's quite surprising. I wouldn't have prepared for that.
Yeah, he has played in the GSTL once in Season 1 2012 actually. That was back in February when he had to face Sun. And he lost, but now he's not playing a Protoss versus Protoss, but a PvZ, so let's see how this game is going to turn out. But first of all, of course, we're heading into a 5-minute break, and then we will be back with game number 2 here to GSTL Prime against TSL. See you in a few.
She's acting like Houdini, yeah, she had me make believing. She gets just what she wants, and then she leaves.